The formation of dark clouds should ideally bring joy to most people. Whilst farmers anticipate water for their crops, it represents a break from the scorching sun for others. But for those residing in low-lying and flood-prone areas, it is an unwelcome reminder of an imminent disaster. JoyNews' Komladum visited Odawna here in Accra, where residents say fixing drains in the area connecting to the new Odo drain is the only way they can be saved from perennial floods.
2 days after Sunday's rains, some residents here at Odawna in Accra are still clearing the residue. Flood waters swept through some homes here at Dansbar behind the Odawna market, destroying several properties. 64-year-old Margaret Ansoma wades through what is left of a stagnant water on this compound. She is one of many occupants in this compound who frets whenever the clouds gather.
I ran out whenever the clouds gather. On Sunday, I had to be carried through the floods to my room. It gives me heartaches.
For years, residents have been enduring the floods. Evacuating is not an option for them because accommodation here comes relatively cheaper. Margaret tells me she was nearly swept away when it rained last year. She's considering moving out of this place to her hometown as the rains set in.
I've told my son I'm packing my belongings to move to my hometown.
All the occupants in this compound, including her children, had to move up this building when their rooms were submerged in flood waters.
It's scary. Whenever it rains, everyone runs up this building, which could cave in.
As many as 6 houses on this stretch were affected, and 32-year-old Nana, not her real name, says they are helpless.
When we see that it's about to rain, we don't sleep. As at now, we only pray to God to intervene because the situation here is very bad and we don't know what they are doing about it.
Walls came down. Provisions from this shop were washed away. Room furniture and other appliances were destroyed after a few minutes of rain.
The gutter is very small, so when it comes like that, the pressure is too much that it can't enter into the small Odo very fast, and so it gets flooded and then it enters into people's rooms and then houses.
At this rate, the residents here say another heavy rain means only one thing: more destruction to property and threat to lives. They, however, believe expanding these drains that feed into the new Odo channel could mitigate the impact of the rains. Until then, when the clouds form again, residents would have to live with the trauma of a possible disaster.
We also visited Glife, another flood-prone community in the Ablekuma West municipality here in Accra, where residents believe the construction of storm drains is the solution to the perennial floods they have to endure. JoyNews' Henry Kwesi-Bedu reports the lives of residents, mostly children, are at risk each time there is a downpour. Here is his report.
I am
here at Glife after Sunday's downpour, and as far as the eye can see, there are pools of water, the remnants of the heavy rains which flooded some parts here. In this community, full of ramshackle structures, scraps and children walking barefooted, the water is greenish, littered with multicolored plastic. Augustina Boateng is a JHS1 student. She narrates the strategy many students here deploy anytime it rains and they are to attend school. Augustina wants government to fix the problem.
We feel bad in the community. The community are flooded. Even when you are going to school, man, we wear sandals. When we walk in the rain, even our school, there is water in the school. We want the government to come and help us. Even our grandmas, when they see the rain even falling, they start crying.
Patience Tayi tells me she placed her grandchildren on a wardrobe when it rained last Sunday after her apartment became flooded.
We are unable to step out of our homes whenever it rains. Every room in the area is flooded. Just this Sunday night, we had to put the children on beds and in wardrobes. How can you sleep when your room is flooded? This is very worrying.
Regina Nate has been living at Glefe since 1990. She laments she's unable to sleep anytime it rains. Like Regina, Nanaya also goes through the pain of not sleeping at nights as her family is forced to constantly scoop water from their rooms when it rains.
Whenever it rains, the situation is bad. The school nearby also gets flooded, so parents come for their children. All the rooms in this house get flooded. Anytime there's a heavy downpour, my grandchildren are unable to sleep. I take them to the shop where it's somehow safe, so they spend the night.
We don't have money to relocate. When it starts drizzling, we become terrified. We pray it never rains.
But another resident, Jonathan Papo Alote, says the residents must take some of the blame for the situation. He accuses some of building in waterways.
Really suffering. The government should help us. Whilst we are faced with the issue of tidal waves, the issue of flood has become a problem. Some residents here build in waterways. We want authorities to take charge of resolving this issue for us because the stagnant water here can contribute to our children contracting diseases since they play in it.
With experts warning of more rains to come, residents here fear they could soon be the next victims if authorities do not intervene and ensure their safety in this flood-prone area. Henry Kwesibedu's report for JoyNews.
The family of 2 soldiers who died in floods over the weekend are appealing to government to fix deplorable roads to avoid disasters in future. Brother of one of the victims who spoke to us is saying that is one of the best ways to immortalize the soldiers who died. Now, JoyNews' checks at the Wager Ridge reveal the deep gullies there, which have been described by environmentalists as dangerous, are widening following the recent downpour. You recall last year, the Environmental Protection Agency warned of its possible collapse. The EPA said the hilly area, which is also an earthquake-prone zone, has developed deep faults which could trigger a mudslide. Maxwell Agbagba visited the area and reports residents continue to live in fear about the possibility of a mudslide.
The director of Intersectorial Mining Division at the Environmental Protection Agency, Ransford Sechi, is worried and warns that the ridge could collapse anytime.
The fear is that if something is not done, something meaning stabilization of the ridge is not done, there is a potential of this whole thing collapsing to destroy all the properties down this ridge and also to block the entire western corridor with the mud that would maybe happen. We should not wait for disaster to strike before we take action.
The once beautiful lush and greenery on this ridge has given way to this brown patch. What we have here is one of the biggest gullies on the Wager Kaswa Ridge, a disaster waiting to happen. Months ago, when we visited the ridge, we saw the devastation caused by quarrying activities and the felling of trees. The vegetative cover had been completely removed, making it easy for the flood water to wash down the silt downstream. The results? Deep gullies have developed under many buildings, with some structures hanging dangerously. Our latest visit showed how the recent rains have further aggravated the woes of residents.
Chief Bibiaboko.
Okay, Chief, what's your name?
My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel Adai has been living at the Wager Ridge for 11 years. He fears the ridge, which is now mainly clay, could tumble down after heavy rains.
This moment, this moment, how this place becomes, it worries we people living here because of the erosions. Because first, this place was not graded. This place will be flat land, and it's covered by grasses. So now they keep all the grasses off because of the taking the gravels. That's why we are disturbed for this area. So as we stay here itself, we are afraid. We are afraid seriously. Because anything at all can happen to us. We want him to come and look at here and solve our problems for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. When we got to the top, about 5 inscriptions, quote, keep off, danger zone, no development. Ironically, there's another sign advertising an available land for sale on the ridge. I've now met Sharon Jajeto, who lives with her mother and grandmother on the ridge. She says walking on it feels like a quicksand, adding it is terrifying anytime it rains.
Anytime it rains, we get scared because when it rains, the land will be soft and smooth. That is why you have to be afraid of this land. Like that, even though our place, a big hole is there, when it rains, the land becomes so softer that we can't walk on it.
Engineer Daniel Sowa works with the Gas South Municipal Assembly. He says there are plans to demolish unauthorized structures on the land and also reclaim part of it.
That part of Accra, I should say, is an area where some years back it was given as a place for, Sonitra to take material there to construct the Legon Road. As a matter of fact, after they have taken the material away to construct the road, the place was left in the state where we are now. And as a result of that, anytime the rain comes, it washes the silt on the road and creates the mess that we all see over there. One of the solutions I was given was that we need to green the area. We need to grass the area because, grass would hold the silt from descending. So at the end of the day, it's only the water that comes. And if the water comes, the water can go through the gullies. So a recommendation was given for reclaiming of that portion of the land and grassing the place. And it was sent to the minister. I'm sure he's receiving an attention, because the situation there now has reached its alarming stage. We are sitting on the time bomb, and any landslide can happen over there because the erosion is keep on coming. If you buy land there, you throw your money away because now the place is a security zone. Those who are staying there, some of the buildings are going to go off. We are going to have a massive demolition over there. Okay. Yeah. So.
Maxwell Agbaba with that report. The serious nature of the problem at Wagerage is better told, perhaps, in still photos. My JoyOnline's award-winning photojournalist David Ando put together this photo story of the Wagerage.
There is fire on the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. I wake up in the morning, tell you what I see on my TV screen. I see the blood of an innocent child, and everybody's watching. Now I'm looking out my window, and what do I see? I see an army of a soldier man marching across the street. Hey. What did it say to make you so blind to your conscience and reason? Could it be love for your country or for the gun you use in killing? So there is fire on the mountain, flow. Ain't there'll be nowhere for us to go. And we will run, wishing we had put out the fire.